who was less than ideal for most people. So just out of that, I don't share who it was. Also, I'm pretty sure that their shop was shut down, so it wouldn't matter anyway. So don't worry, I'm not trying to hoard information from you guys. If it was a good seller, I would tell you, but a lot of people had pretty horrible experiences with him, and I just happened to get lucky. So as you can see, it is quite large and it is putting out a lot of new growth pretty rapidly. And a lot of the growth is looking really, really nice. You can see that it has a really gorgeous modeling in the variegation. So when you are looking for one of these, you want to find one that has something like this with the variegation. Usually you'd have to worry more about reversion with this plant when you are getting big segments of white or big segments of green. I happen to have one that has really lovely modeling and I'm so happy about it. The stem is super variegated as well, and I'm actually going to be chopping it soon to give to a friend, probably about right here. So I'm excited to see what it'll do branching wise, but we do have a lot of the older original leaves that the plant came with, and they look pretty good too. They haven't gotten super big, but we do have a few with fenestration, so that makes it pretty fun. This big leaf right here, I propagated, and basically it was not a top cutting, so it took a long time to put out something else, and so it has since put out 3 leaves. This one came out first, and then it put out this one, and then it put out this one. And as you can see, there is some cosmetic damage on these leaves, and that is mostly just due to the fact that I moved, and the leaves got a bit damaged in the move. I moved across the country, so it was kind of expected, but yeah, it hasn't put out a new leaf in a long time. I'm thinking I'm going to repot it to help it give it a little bit of a boost because the soil is pretty old. And then the last of my variegated monsteras is this Thai Constellation. This one also has a little bit of damage from the move, but this side of the leaf was actually inside of the leaf, like in the roll when we were moving, so that side stayed protected. But yeah, it's been a pretty steady plant for me. I've never had any significant issues with it. No rotting or anything like that. I do have it in a pretty chunky mix. This is my De La Tank's soil mix. It's a custom soil blend that I created with a soil company in Tucson, Arizona, and she is pregnant. So she's on a little pole. I do think that I will eventually remove it from the pole and give it something else. It'll be the same with this elbow, but for now, they're pretty happy just to be hanging out right there. Now up here we have a couple anthurium. So this one is an anthurium balawenum, and it's really, really beautiful because it has these gorgeous big leaves. Let me show you this one. This is a pretty classic balawenum leaf, and I just think that it is the most beautiful plant. It's not one that I would have thought to pick up, but I actually won this in a giveaway, and it has been an extremely prolific and happy grower with me. It's actually putting out a new leaf very quickly after it put out this one. Like, this one is just barely hardened off, as you can see. So she's looking really nice. I'm super excited to see how big that leaf will be. But for a while it would put out a leaf and then kill off a leaf, but it stopped doing that recently. So I think that it's a lot happier. Now this is a king anthurium, or the Anthurium veitchii, and it is well known for its ripply leaves. Now he happens to be really thirsty right now, so you can see that he's leaning. Typically he'll be more up like this. So that's just a little tip. If you see yours leaning a little bit, that means that it's thirsty. Also, the leaves will feel a lot thinner. But in general, it's been a really great plant. It hasn't been a super fast grower for me, but in any case, it's been a steady plant to have around. Like, I don't really ever have to worry about it. If you are wanting to get started with anthurium, I would suggest starting with this one because it's a very, very simple care plant. It has very simple needs, very similar to a Monstera deliciosa. And then up high up here, I have a Begonia maculata. I kind of didn't know what to do with it, so I just stuck it up here. And just in case you guys are curious, all of these plants are hung up with plant hooks. And I've showed several times in videos hanging those up, but they just make the plant look like it's floating, and it's a really cool effect. Here's what an empty one looks like, and then I have a couple of plants over here that are hung up with them too. This plant shelf is probably one of my most prized possessions. It is so beautiful. I got it for $35 off of Facebook Marketplace. It was a crazy find, and I think that they were selling it so cheap because it was a little bit broken. You can see there's a little bit of damage there, but you can't see that at all because I have it covered with a chair, and even when you could see it, it wasn't a big deal. I have a lot of smaller plants on this shelf because I think that it's just a great place to put a bunch of smaller plants without it looking too crowded and overwhelming. So let's start up here. This is a lemon lime maranta, and it's one of the more beautiful marantas in my opinion. There is also the red one, but I really like this one. I think that it is so beautiful. These colors are just so lovely. And when it got shipped to me from Tennessee Tropicals, it wasn't too happy about it. You know, there's some residual signs of that, but we do have lots of new growth coming in finally, and it's starting to fill in pretty nicely. This is a watermelon peperomia. It's in one of my favorite pots. I'll put the name on the screen where this is from. And watermelon peperomia are just such beautiful, fun little peperomias. When they're thirsty, they get a little soft. You can see I can bend this, so that means that it's thirsty. I did water it right before I filmed, but she is typically a little bit more upright as well, but they do droop ever so slightly when they're thirsty. This wonky looking plant is a baby Monstera deliciosa that I started from seed. I shared that entire process on my channel if you'd like to go watch that video, but it was a really fun way to, I don't know, interact with this plant and learn how it works. I would like to get it in a place where it's getting slightly more light because as you can see, it does look like it's reaching a bit, but it was really easy to start from seed. So if you are looking into doing that, I will have the information down below about where I got my seeds. I'm blanking on the name of this syngonium, but it's a really, really delicate, gorgeous syngonium, and it just puts out these cute little green leaves with this silver in the middle, and these leaves are very, very thin in comparison to other syngonium. I have another syngonium right here that I'll talk about in a little bit, and the leaves just feel a lot more papery on this one, which means that it needs a bit more on the care side, a little bit more watering. So anyway, it is really sweet. I got this from a local nursery here in Columbia, and I quite enjoy it. This is a philodendron Atabapoense, and I actually ordered one of these from Green Spaces ID, I don't know, a couple years ago, and then I gave it to my friend Adam, and then it got big enough to take a cutting, and he gave me this cutting, and I'm really excited and so happy to have it. Finally, after a very long time of having it, it's putting out a new leaf, and something really unique about these is they have a purple back on the leaves. This green is just like basically one of my favorite colors. I love the silvery green color, and it's potted in de la tanks. Most of my plants are potted in de la tanks, so it's an all-purpose houseplant soil, so you can pretty much assume that anything in my house could be planted in de la tanks. This is the Tradescantia Nanook. There's lots of different types of Tradescantia out there. This is my favorite. It's pink and green and lovely, and a lot of people ask me what I'm gonna do when it gets a little bit bigger and is less cute, because they do have a tendency to get leggy at the top here. And what I'll probably do is take cuttings and pot them back up here so that the top can always be full. I kind of already did that on accident with this piece. I broke off this piece and I just stuck it back in the soil. I didn't even propagate it first. I just stuck it in the soil and it rooted really nicely. That's probably the first time that's ever happened to me though, so I wouldn't suggest that as like something to do all the time. But if you feel confident to try it out and it doesn't mean that much to you if it doesn't make it, definitely try it. This is a Philodendron gloriosum, and it's very little, but she's making some progress. So this is a newer leaf right here, and then we have a new leaf coming in right there. So half of this plant was actually gifted to me by Planting the World Red. We did a swap together, and then the other half I purchased from Tennessee Tropicals. So I kind of combined the two of them, and I actually don't even know which is which anymore because they've just sort of melded together. But this is a creeping plant, so it doesn't like to climb, it likes to creep, and you can kind of see down in here is just sort of starting to creep across the bottom. I am excited to see what this will become, but right now it is just a very small and tiny cute plant. This is a philodendron florida. This is a more juvenile leaf that it started when I broke off the growth tip, which, surprise, surprise, I broke it off again. So it's having to start over. Pretty unfortunate, but you can see this little thing right here. That's a new growth tip that it's starting. There was a new leaf coming out right here, and then I knocked it somehow and it fell off. But this is what the leaves look like when they're a little bit more mature. So they're very cute, fun little shape.